What's up, Nintendo gamers? The Kid here, and I'm talking about The Legend of Zelda and what is next for it. Now, at the latest Nintendo Direct, which was a few weeks ago, Iwata talked about the new Legend of Zelda that is in development. Now, we all knew that this was coming, either sooner or later. It looks like a little bit sooner since we're already getting news about it. But he announced that they are developing a new Legend of Zelda, and also that the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD is on its way to the Wii U this year, near the end of the year in fall. Now, I'm going to talk about both of these things because you guys know that I'm a huge Zelda fan. You guys all know, a lot of you guys, a lot of subscribers actually I have right now are all subscribers to me a lot because of my Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword updates, and I actually got a lot of views on that, and I really liked and loved doing those updates. So I'm really excited, and I'm going to definitely do updates on the next Legend of Zelda that is in development. Maybe not Wind Waker because that's already a done game. It's came out. This is just a HD remake, and everything's most likely going to be the same, story wise and character wise and everything. So, about the one in development, let's start off with that. And this is going to, be a little bit of the whole video mostly instead of the HD, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So, Iwata said that they were going to go in a new direction with the next Legend of Zelda, that it's not going to be as traditional as all the other Legend of Zeldas have been as far as going in order when it comes to dungeons. He hinted that you may be able to go to any dungeons out of order, kind of like the original Legend of Zelda. You didn't necessarily have to go to the dungeons in an order. I remember I beat the Legend of Zelda, and I'm pretty sure I went completely out of order with the dungeons. Of course, this made things harder because I didn't have certain items that I could acquire from different dungeons, but I still beat the game nonetheless. That's a good concept. I love that. Hopefully they have a big open world, for the overworld, and maybe even two overworlds. Maybe they can open up the sky again. Where this Legend of Zelda is going to take place, it can be anywhere within the three timelines. But this will probably no doubt be Adult Link again because consoles usually have Adult Link, and the handheld Legend of Zeldas usually have the Child Link. But Wind Waker kind of mixed that up when he was a child in Wind Waker, and it was a console, of course, release of Legend of Zelda. But everybody has kind of loved the fact that the older adult Link is more in the consoles, and then the handhelds have the whole child Link because it just makes sense. The big guy is on the consoles, the little guy is on the handhelds. It makes sense to me. But Iwata also touched on the possibility, and this is the big one, the possibility of multiplayer in The Legend of Zelda. Now, that's pretty huge. That's completely new as far as I know to The Legend of Zelda. Now, a lot of people have been having like theories and thoughts and ideas about how actually multiplayer could work in A Legend of Zelda. Now, I don't know if anyone actually touched on what I'm about to touch on, but probably so. But some people have said, having like say another character that Link knows play as the second character that you can drop in and drop out with. And I always thought, what about your actual companion as the second player? The second player plays as Link's companion because we all know in these adult Link games, or as a matter of fact, a lot of games of The Legend of Zelda, Link always have some type of spiritual guide. Both it can be physical and spiritual, or spiritual. For this to be, to happen, so the second player can actually have fun, I was thinking they could have another like guide or companion like Fi in Skyward Sword. Fi, the reason why I say her, she's about the biggest companion he's had, like the more human like. The only thing, she didn't have arms, but they can use that character, the companion in the game, as the second player's character that they will control to do different puzzles. Um, maybe heal Link, give him potions, access areas that Link can't, that, are only exclusive to if you're playing second, two players in the game. And they'll always be there, even if you're playing one player. And, it just depends on what his guide or companion is capable of. Like Fi was. Fi was basically the spirit of the Master Sword. So she was capable of a lot of things, unlocking things, making seals, doing all sorts of things she was capable of. And if you guys didn't know, in Skyward Sword, Girahim was also the spirit of Demise's sword. So he was basically the same thing as Fi, except he had arms and she didn't for some reason. I don't know if that was because she didn't want arms, or I don't know. But that's my idea for the second player to become the companion, because if you think about it, Link usually travels alone. He has the Master Sword. Only he can really slay evil. Sure, he can, kill enemies with a regular sword, but enemies get stronger and stronger and basically immune to attacks like that. Now, with the Sword of Evil's Bane, he can pretty much slash anything, and even some enemies outside of Ganondorf can withstand a lot of attacks with the Master Sword. So just think with a regular sword. That's why I say someone like someone he knows that's in his village to be his companion wouldn't much make sense, because they would most likely use a regular sword or something that won't really help in the end. I mean, of course, this is a video game, they can make it help, but I'm just trying to make it have more sense to the Legend of Zelda lore than just it being a game and, there's two players, so that's just what they're able to do. Also, I was thinking, as a companion, maybe Zelda. Maybe let's get out of the trend Zelda is missing or gets kidnapped or anything, but this time, no, the stakes are higher. Zelda is not kidnapped. She's not held captive in her own castle, but she actually has to come with you to do this certain adventure this time. And, she Zelda is very powerful. I mean, she is a goddess reincarnated. She's very powerful even in her mortal form. So she has a lot of magic abilities and stuff. So she would actually be really helpful, and actually more so makes sense for him to be companions with than some other random, citizen that's a guy with a sword, because she actually has magical powers, and she has the power of one of the thirds of the Triforce, so she would actually be able to hurt enemies just like Link would be with his Master Sword. So those are some of my ideas. But again, with this game, I think there should be a huge open world, because I'm going to say this again, but Skyward Swords was lacking in exploration and in overall size. It wasn't that big. There wasn't that much to explore. I want a lot of side missions in this game, maybe even DLC, just like Skyrim. This is where Legend of Zelda can learn from Elder Scrolls with the side missions, DLC, and stuff. We need that in this game. As far as how Link is, what time period this is, I hope it does venture somewhere between Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time. Basically at this point, Hyrule is built, but at the same time, we're starting to get introduced into these new races and stuff like Zoras, more Gorons, because in The Legend of Zelda there were about two or three Gorons in there. They helped Link um, in Skyward Sword, but those were the only three. There weren't. You never seen any other ones. There were either three or two. One was an archaeologist. The other one was, I believe, a miner or something, or another archaeologist. So, yeah, that's what I think this game should be like. DLC and all, and it will be a huge hit. Now, the whole multiplayer thing, that's a risk that Nintendo will be taking with this new Legend of Zelda. That can be a hit or it can be a miss, but as I always say, I like when companies and stuff, game developers, take a risk. It can be a hit or miss, but at least they tried to change it up, and you have to kind of give them that, because there are actual Legend of Zelda fans, like hardcore fans, who say, hey, the series is getting kind of stale in its whole setup, so I wish they change it up. So you can't get mad if it's a hit or miss. You did ask for changes, and the change was a miss, so you got to give them credit for at least trying to do something new. Now, those are my thoughts there about The Legend of Zelda for the Wii U in development right now. Now, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD, now, that's something that blew me away, because that was something I totally wasn't expecting. I mean, usually when Nintendo announces something big, there's some rumor before about it. Of course, it's out of place, but it will have like the same general character or series in its name, whatever the rumor is, like the whole Yoshi and stuff game. We didn't know what it would be, but we seen it. Okay, we expected that because there were rumors about that. But this was completely different. Now, I played Wind Waker, but I only played it once, and I really don't remember how it was. And so, getting this game on a Wii U in HD, and this is a remake. This is not an upscale. This is a remake. It's going to be like playing the game again for the first time. So I'm really excited for that. Now, we already have complainers. Complainers complaining about the HD Zelda, saying the Wind Waker HD remake has too much bloom effect, which is basically a shader effect they use on HD games. And it's like, you know what? Really, you should just shut up about that, because one, Nintendo doesn't have to give you a HD remake of one of the most influential Legend of Zelda games ever made outside of Ocarina of Time to most people. And two, who cares? This is Zelda. It's a remake. It's going to play the same. It's going to look better, and it may have even new features, maybe even an extended story, so that it ties into more of the timeline, even more ways than the original version had. So I don't see why you're complaining, saying it's not shell shaded a lot. It's very ironic, because one, people complained about the look of The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker when it was first announced years and years and years ago, and now again people are complaining that it doesn't look the same as it did when it originally came out. Isn't that ironic? It's like Nintendo can't freaking win with this Legend of Zelda. So it is cel shaded, but it has more of a 3D tone to it. Now, The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, it has kind of this water effect with its shell shading. This time around, it actually, I think Link looks a little bit more, and the character models look a little bit more like he did in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. The whole solid, he looks more solid and more like a freaking human than what he did in The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, the original version, where it was kind of a shell shaded and watery, like painted effect on their character models. This time he looks more fuller. He actually looks like the Brawl version character sprite of this character. So I'm excited for this. I'm going to get that this year. So guys, what do you think about everything Iwata said? about The Legend of Zelda coming. I'll have a link in the description to what Iwata exactly said down below. And comment what you guys think about all these changes and what ideas do you guys have for the next Legend of Zelda. And what are your thoughts on the Wind Waker HD and its art style changing slightly, and what are your expectations and what do you want to see added into it? All this in the comments below, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll have videos soon to come. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.